Hey, what's up? Hope everybody's doing well. Donald Trump, in the spirit of always keeping things interesting, today it was announced that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin plan on sitting down for a summit in a neutral third country. And I would guess that this is going to end up happening if the guy was able to pull off a summit with Kim Jong Un. I think getting Vladimir Putin to sit down should be a piece of cake, and this is going to be it's like Donald Trump, who is the master troll, is now going to make MSNBC and CNN heads explode, and I actually think that part of this might just be luring them in to going crazy with the Trump Russia collusion narrative, which they spent about a year obsessing on and then getting basically nothing out of it. And I think he realizes that this is a winning political hand for him. Also, I think this is just the right move, and I gotta say, I'm very pleased by this announcement. It's pretty interesting. I thought with everything that the media had thrown at Donald Trump, they had pretty much made it impossible for him to work out any type of deal with Russia, which, by the way, I think is kind of the whole point of the Trump-Russia collusion narrative being so dominant, is that if he does anything with Russia, now they can say, see, proof, he is a Russian puppet. But Trump is nothing if not bold, and it looks like he's going to go forward with it anyway. I do think that, like I said, this is a very good thing. A very, very good thing. And Donald Trump had said when he was at the G7 meeting in Canada, that he said it should go back to being the G8, and that we should have Russia involved there too. And he was right about that, and he's right to go have this meeting now. It's that got a little bit of pushback from the media, but really it's the common sense obvious. It's the obvious point. I think it's like, just to talk about the whole Trump Russia thing, I think it's like we should put it in a little bit of context and give a little bit of background on what's going on here, right? So you have let's start with Mitt Romney in 2012, who ran his presidential campaign, and he said that the number one geopolitical enemy of the United States of America is Russia. Obama kind of laughed at him at that point. It was like, what are you talking about? But over the next 4 years of the Obama administration, things kind of went in that direction. You had Russia kicked out of the G8. They were kicked out, and the G8 went down to the G7. Then shortly after that, you had Russia basically moving into Syria and catching Bashar al-Assad's back and saying that he was going to help him fight against the radical jihadists who the United States of America and other Western allies had armed to take out Assad, because we were going after yet another regime change there, because it worked out so well in Iraq and in Libya and Yemen. So now we were going to take out Bashar al-Assad, and they called in help from Putin, and he agreed. So feel however you do about Assad, but the sovereign government of Syria called in the sovereign government of Russia. They came in and started helping them fight against this basically fight in this civil war, which the United States and Saudi Arabia had illegally and covertly created. And this is all facts. You can go look any of this stuff up. And we had you can go back to 2003 and see the U.S. plans of having regime change in Syria. It was way before the violence. It wasn't response to the civil war. We actually created the civil war by arming up the radical jihad, the jihadist movement, which turned into ISIS. So fast forward to the 2016 presidential election. You have Hillary Clinton, who was running on a platform of a no-fly zone in Syria. This was Hillary Clinton's stated position in Syria. This is after Russia's already in there. So you have Hillary Clinton deciding that there will be a no-fly zone in Syria in areas where Russian planes are flying. So it's just straight up advocating war with Russia. War with a nuclear-armed power, Russia. Okay, and by the way, high-level members of the military also said this. They were like, her position is war with Russia. Now, because before Donald Trump enters the picture, there's just so much difference between Democrats and Republicans. So the Republican guy, who all the neocons and all the establishment Republicans like that was Marco Rubio, right? They didn't really trust Ted Cruz too much. They didn't like him. They certainly didn't like Donald Trump. They liked Marco Rubio. You know what Marco Rubio's position was? No-fly zone in Syria. So both the Republican and Democratic establishment candidates were saying we should go to war with Russia. Okay? So I don't know if you'd need any more of a reason of why we should talk to Russia, because both the Democrat and Republican establishments want us to go to war with Russia. We've probably never been closer to a war with Russia since JFK was president. And so just on that alone, if all the war hawks in this two-party duopoly want war with Russia, I want to talk to Russia. Right? Now enter Donald Trump, who is completely outside the system, and he took what is the correct and only practical approach to this situation, and he said, hey, why the hell would we want to go to war with Russia? Wouldn't it be great if we could work with Russia, seeing as how they're there to defeat ISIS, which Donald Trump correctly stated that Obama and Hillary created ISIS. Remember when that got a little bit of outrage, but the media didn't really want to spend that much time talking about it? Oh yeah, because it's true. So he goes, why would I want to stop somebody who's there to fight ISIS? He goes, no, we should work with Russia. They can take out ISIS. And he was like, and we should stop with this regime change stuff. Like, what are we doing? We've spent trillions of dollars. We're just destroying countries. And, this is, in Donald Trump's mind, it was like, this is a bad deal. It's not putting America first, Of course, the other byproduct of that bad deal is that we've destroyed entire nations and killed hundreds of thousands of people. So that part's not so great either. So Donald Trump's instincts were always like, yeah, let's talk to Russia. Let's not go forward with this plan of the neocons and the military-industrial complex to have perpetual war and to remake the Middle East, I would say in our image, but it's not like we're remaking it in our image. We're remaking it in like a jihadi image. But okay, so that was Donald Trump's plan. And all of a sudden, after Donald Trump goes, I don't want to go along with the war machine, the entire mainstream media decides that this must mean he's a puppet of Vladimir Putin, right? The most ridiculous thing you could imagine. And then even Hillary Clinton said in a presidential debate, she turned to Donald Trump and said, he's a puppet of Vladimir Putin. This absolutely ridiculous, but because you don't want nuclear war with the Russians, now that means you're a puppet. Yes, Vladimir Putin exercises so much power over the United States of America's political system. Says Hillary Clinton, who's taken $10 million from the Saudis and wants to fight every war that Israel wants us involved in. But all of a sudden, not fighting a war with Russia, that means that you're owned by some foreign government. So the whole thing was ridiculous. And then what happened was you had the DNC leaks and the Podesta leaks. And this, if you remember, didn't look so good for the DNC and for the Clintons. You basically found out that we got a lot of interesting information. Like, number one, we found out that Bernie Sanders was completely cheated and that he never had a chance against Hillary Clinton, and the DNC was actively working for Hillary Clinton. They were lying. They were basically saying we're a neutral organization, and they weren't at all. They were actually looking up ways to ruin Bernie Sanders. And by the way, the damage that they've done to the Democratic Party over that is we still haven't figured out. Take a look at this race that just happened here in New York, and yeah, there's still a huge divide. It's very similar to what the Republicans did when they cheated Ron Paul back in 2012, and look what ends up happening from that. Donald Trump comes in and the party's completely fractured. So get ready for these midterms and the 2020 election, because the Democrats might be in a lot of trouble. But anyway, so that we found out that the DNC was cheating. We found out that the mainstream media was colluding with Hillary Clinton, right? Like, so far as, I mean, not like in a mild way. They were giving her debate questions ahead of the debates that were actually asked of her, like straight up giving her debate questions. And they were doing her bidding. Like, she said that she wanted Donald Trump to get more airtime. So, she's letting people at MSNBC and CNN know. Give Donald Trump more airtime because we think we can beat him, which is, by the way, the most hilarious thing ever, because she actually built up this monster that ended up destroying her presidential ambitions. But anyway, so now you have all this. You have Donald Trump taking the only reasonable position on Russia, and it coming out that everybody else is corrupt, and that this whole system is rigged, and there's collusion between Hillary, the DNC, and the mainstream media. So what's the media's reaction to all that? What's CNN's reaction to all that? Like, man, we are so sorry. We are so sorry that one of our employees leaked debate questions to Hillary Clinton. We have failed at our most precious responsibility. No. They go, Trump-Russia collusion. That's it. That's the whole thing. And what was the one time that Donald, or two times I suppose, but the one thing that Donald Trump did that got the entire mainstream media to get off his back and start saying he's presidential and, oh my God, he's actually doing the right thing? What was it? It was when he bombed the crap out of Syria, right? So this is what all the pressure has been for, to break up any chance that him and Putin can actually work out some type of compromise. They can have some type of détente, and that we could have some deal where we don't have to get into one of these stupid, horrific wars, and we could have peace and not go to war with a freaking nuclear armed country. Like, who could be against that? What person outside of, like, you don't work for Lockheed Martin. Outside of that, you're not some crazy Lindsey Graham or some neocon. Like, who would not want to avoid a war with Russia? Just seems like the obvious move to me. So this is going to happen. I mean, I would bet on it that this summit's going to happen. And overall, it's a good thing. And I can't wait. Can't wait to see the mainstream media's reaction. As Trump really is. He's the master troll. And I think he's going to bait them into going crazy, and it's going to end up making him look very good. And the bigger picture is, man, if there's not an economic crash in the next few years, which is a very real possibility, but anything short of that, Trump's going to end up breaking this whole goddamn system, and he'll end up getting reelected in 2020. All right, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.